Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about my grandfather, my mother's dad. His name is Oscar Leopold Howes. He was born in Adrian, Upshur County, West Virginia on 3/17/1902. So he was born on St. Patrick's Day in 1902. And he passed away on September 28th, 1985. It seems kind of hard to believe that he died, that I knew him up until I was like 31, almost 32 years old. Of course, he spent his early years in Upshur County in West Virginia, where our ancestry goes back way, way, way back. Back to Samuel Pringle, who was a settler, one of the first white settlers in Upshur County, what later became Upshur County, West Virginia. Anyway, he at some point he ended up, and I don't know the story, he ended up in Michigan, where he met my grandmother, Dorothy Fowler, and they got married probably rather young. I do have some pictures of the two of them together. I'll talk about their relationship in a different video. And I mostly want to concentrate on the fact that, you know, on him, and then his marriage to his second wife, Joyce Daldine. Her first name was Josephine, but she went by Joyce. Anyway, they got married, and I do have a picture of their wedding, and it's actually posted on Find a Grave under his and her memorials, and also on Ancestry.com if you want to look it up. This is a picture of Oscar, and I believe this is his mother, and his mother was Mary Effie Thorpe. That was her maiden name, Thorpe. And anyway, she, you know, it's like she went by Effie, not but anyway, that's him. This picture was probably taken in West Virginia. And then here's a picture of Oscar and his second wife. This is Christmas. This is probably the second Christmas they spent together. This is in 1948 on Christmas Day. That's them. That's Joyce, and that's my grandfather, Oscar. And this is also posted on Find a Grave and Ancestry. And let's see, got some more pictures of him. This is an interesting picture. I'm sitting in front of our house here in Gardena, 133rd Street, and this photo was taken in front of our yard. And if you notice that there's a little tiny plant in back of him, it's a bird of paradise, and you could tell it was just planted. There's a little tiny shovel right there. It had just obviously just been planted. This was taken May 1960, and this is the bird of paradise. This is it. It's still here. So, and then anyway, he married. It's like at some point he divorced. He divorced my grandmother. Actually, I think she divorced him because you know, I don't like to paint a clouded picture of people, you know, but the thing is that he was a ladies' man, and he cheated on her. As a matter of fact, my mother recalled a memory where my grandmother, before they got divorced and all, that a woman called and said that she was pregnant with his baby. And so my mother probably has if they haven't passed away yet, probably has a sibling out there, half sibling out there somewhere. So anyway, this is, so anyway, they ended up in Michigan, and then, you know, he met his second wife, Joyce, in Michigan, and they got married, and I believe it's 1947 they got married, and I do have their wedding picture. So, and then they at some point decided, because the family decided to come out east, my mother did, like in 1954, I believe it was, they came out. A couple of years later, they decided to come out to California too. And initially, I believe I remember, kind of have a vague memory of them living in an apartment in Redondo Beach. And Redondo Beach is actually where my aunt, my mother's only sibling. She had an older sister named Joyce. They ended up, I think, living in Redondo to be close to them because they seemed to have a closer relationship, the two of them with Oscar and with my grandfather Oscar and his second wife than actually my mother did with them. My mother had a closer relationship with her mother and her second husband. So anyway, so they ended up there. And then at some point, I think by the late 50s, they bought, late 50s, maybe around 1960, they bought a house in Sun City, California, which is next to Paris, P-R-R-I-S. It's basically a community for older people, and they really love that house. So it's a corner house. I don't have the address. I remember the property really well because they actually had a plaster dog that they put, like as part of the design of the landscaping. And when I say landscaping, actually it was like out there, most of the lawns were like little rocks, so pebbles and so on. So in the corner of the corner, because it was a corner house, they had this little dog, plastic dog, and they named it Leilani. And I still remember that. And they had it there for years. It's like I don't know at what time they didn't have it anymore. But I know it's like Joyce continued to live in the house after my grandfather passed away, and I think he spent his last couple of months in a home. It's for somebody taking care of him because I don't think my step grandmother could do that. Joyce could do that. Let's see. Here's a picture of my grandfather. Picture. And this says Oscar L. House, Hazel Park, Michigan. And I think this is actually where they lived at one time, and actually where his mother lived, because I know I've got a picture of her at that house too. And here's another picture of Oscar. He's feeding a deer. Apparently they went camping, and maybe we may have been on the trip out here. And it says Mule Deer Yosemite National Park, California. That's what it says. And then, let's see. I think I showed that picture and his picture. Trying to figure out what else I haven't said about him. He's, what I remember about his personality and so on, he had a sense of humor, but he was a very quiet man. He was a very quiet man. He didn't, he didn't talk a lot. His wife, Joyce, did an awful lot. She did the talking, and she was a real talker and an extrovert. So, and one of the sad things is I remember it's like before Oscar passed away, Joyce said she wanted to go too, and my grandfather Oscar told her that it was not her time yet, and she of course accepted that. She actually ended up living quite a few years after he did. I know that at one point I mentioned that he was a cheater and stuff, that he cheated on my grandmother. Apparently he pulled that BS with Joyce, and Joyce put her foot down. She goes, "Oh no, you're not. It's like you do that, and I'm leaving." And he stopped he stopped doing it. Anyway, okay, so let's see. That's good. Also, it's like so they lived in Sun City, Redondo, Michigan, and West Virginia. And one of the other things I remember being there, they had a swimming pool at their, they had a facility there with the swimming pool and everything. And I remember getting a really bad sunburn. We stayed overnight, and we spent like a day or two there, and I don't think my parents were around or something. They went somewhere else, but so I was staying with them. And I think my sister was there too, my brother. But the one thing I remember is that I got a really, we used the pool and stuff, and wore a bathing suit, and I have fair skin, and I got a really bad sunburn, probably the worst sunburn in my life, because I actually had some blisters on my back, my shoulders and stuff, and I had one that was quite big. It was about the size of a quarter. I was probably about 10 years old, so the size of a quarter you know, like blister is a huge blister for a kid. You know, I remember it being painful. And when I came back from the thing, they lanced all of them and let the oils run out. And you know, my mother and dad probably had, like probably read them the riot act after that. But what they did is, like, the next day, because I still wanted to go swimming and stuff, they put a T-shirt on me, you know, over the bathing suit, and so that solved the problem. Anyway, that's some information about my grandfather, and please look him up on Find a Grave. You know, if you don't have Ancestry, you know, he's got a memorial there, and he did pass away in Sun City. Let's see, where's my little note here? Passed away in Sun City, and so did his wife. So, and that's it for right now. Thanks.